Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, the 23rd of July, and I thought I'd do another quick update on how I'm getting on with the reading rush this week. So, yesterday I was reading from about 1 o'clock up until about 7-ish, and I was reading Alathea, which is by Dylan Madeley. So, I was given a free copy of that book to review as part of a blog tour or blog event. I've picked it because I really like the sound of the story from the synopsis and the blurb, and I thought it really sounded like the kind of book I would love, especially because it's like an epic fantasy story. So yeah, that's normally sort of right up my street. Have to say, unfortunately, I rated this one at 3 stars, which isn't, it's not terrible, but I didn't love it as much as I hoped I would. Alathea is the daughter of the emperor, and her mother died several years before when she was really young. She was assassinated by a member of a group called the Falcon's Eye. And basically, ever since then, her father has been determined to root out all of these assassins and rebels. And he's, always out traveling with his war party to just eradicate them as much as he can. And basically, Alathea at the start, she confesses that the reason why she always gets her father to tell her stories about her mother is because she feels that that's the only way she can get him to stay with her and talk to her, because she doesn't really get to see him very often. Instead, she spends her time with her nursemaid and also her tutor, who is also the emperor's advisor. So her father at the start of the book has had word about where the remaining members of the Falcon's Eye are hiding. So he goes off with the tutor called Reeb to eradicate them once and for all. And on his journey up into the north to this village, he comes across 2 warring clans. And it turns out that the reason they're fighting is because the son of one of the clans rejected the proposal of a daughter of one of the other clans. And when he talks to the son and asks him why did you do that? And, could you not have resolved this in a more diplomatic or peaceful way? The son says, oh, well, I just didn't love her. I just didn't feel like she was right for me. And says that he would really like to have the opportunity to court the emperor's daughter, Alathea, because he's like, oh, I'm saving myself for her, which is kind of weird. But I guess the guy's meant to be like, I guess about 15 or something. So I was like, you know what, I can kind of believe that. So they then take the army of this son's family with them to go and fight the rebels. They kill them all. Unfortunately, the emperor, in the very last battle, he gets shot in the arm with some arrows, and he refuses to let Reeb check the wound and properly cleanse it for him, because I guess he's just like, no, I'll be fine. Of course, he's not fine, and he ends up dying from the wound. Alathea is still at home. She's being looked after by the nursemaid, and obviously she's a little bit vulnerable because most of the guards have gone with the army. And her nursemaid, before her father has actually died, tells Alathea that her father was killed. And she's obviously super upset. And the nursemaid says, oh, you must go with these men because they'll keep you safe. They'll protect you because things are probably going to be a little bit uncertain with the throne now. So off Alathea goes with these guys, and she gets taken to see these 3 priests, and she begins to have a bit of a bad feeling. In the meantime, Reeb has managed to come all the way down back to the palace, has found that she's missing, and spoken to the nursemaid, who says where she's gone. He chases after them and manages to rescue Alathea, who has since murdered these 3 priests because she realised they were bad. And that they, had bad intentions, and they were going to sacrifice her. And then because she manages to kill those 3 priests, she decides that must make her a goddess, because obviously, I think it's something like it makes her a goddess because there's no way that a mortal human could have done that, or something like that. And so then she, instead of having the nursemaid executed, she spares her life and says, you must then go and tell everyone about how I'm a goddess and I'm amazing. And I just felt that there were so many promising ideas, and the world itself was really interesting. But basically, the book is only, as I said, it's only 288 pages. And it really just felt like that didn't give you enough time to process everything, learn to get to know the characters, and, you know, start to really feel worried for them before it quickly moved on to the next plot point. Because that's only probably about halfway through the book. There was still so much that happened. As much as I enjoyed it, I just felt that it was just too rushed, and I would have really liked to have learned more about Elathia, for example, about the her advisor Reeb and like his people. He comes from an island that is generally left alone and is kind of in the middle of nowhere, and I felt that there was a lot more about his people that would have been really interesting to know. Apparently they're the only people that are sorcerers in their land, so I would have loved to have learned a bit more about their magic and how that works. But yeah, I rated it a 3 stars, so it's not like it was a bad read. I'd be interested if there is a sequel, because the ending was kind of a cliffhanger, and I wondered if that was so that Dylan could potentially open it to a new book, because I think that might have a bit more character development rather than just world building and plot. But yeah, we'll wait and see. I'll be interested to find out what happens with that one. So in yesterday's video, I was talking about how I wasn't really sure what I was going to read as the start of my Reading Rush TBR. So I have decided to stick with A Court of Miracles, because I figured I'm going to really try this time to actually stick with what I've said I will do and the books that I said I will read. I think as well that this should be a fairly quick read, as it's a young adult. So I guess we'll see. I'm just having a look at how many. So it's about 400 pages. And yeah, I've been wanting to read this for a long time, so as well, ever since it arrived. So I feel like I should just sit and read this one and not sort of faff around with, you know, changing my mind and stuff. And I'll just stick to the list. I have now moved my books onto the shelf behind me, if you can see those. So they're in sight all the time. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading The Court of Miracles today. I am working, so I'm going to do a bit of reading this morning before I start work. I'm going to have a bit of time at lunchtime to read, because I get an hour's lunch break. And then obviously I've got this evening as well. So I will cross my fingers and see how far I manage to get today. But yeah, I'm super excited to read this one, and I can't wait to let you know what I think about it. So that's my update for today. I'll see you tomorrow.